Hello, and welcome back to the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana, virtually today. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see our heads are in little boxes, and we're doing this because we're doing the live show tonight. So we wanted to, right? We wanted to get like ourselves warmed up at home.
Yeah, then we'll be ready to go. Yeah, it's a little bit of a chaotic week with the show, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great show. I haven't been on stage in a couple of years, I think. So
it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Happy to have you back. Well, it's been a few days for me. I've been kind of like off the stage a little bit more than usual. So hopefully
we're
put
both
this
coming
all
in
together.
Fresh.
Yeah, coming in fresh, a lot of energy. It'll be fun. The live shows are always a blast, and people just enjoy, it's a dating talk show. Like it is like truly like Maury Povich. It's like Wendy Williams, it's like
we're doing DNA tests.
You are the father.
Yes.
I got to get my voice.
You are the. We should do a "You Are the Fuckboy" segment.
That's fun. Am I a fuckboy? And then someone describe their life, and we can ask them questions.
We ran the tests.
Go. That's right.
The results have just come in.
And you are a fuckboy. Yeah. It's just fun to say.
Yeah. That's the original, you talk about like the TikTok videos and the head on the stick and everything like that. Like the Jerry Springer, Maury Povich, like you are the father, when the women go like, I fucking told you, like, well, like that was like the original men's head on the sticks. Cause like the guys were just sitting there and they couldn't say anything because they were the father.
I know. I always wondered, like, can you imagine how much your heart is racing? Like the difference between like, it's funny. Like, I guess I would always watch it from the male angle.
Really?
Like, like
you're like, I hope he's not the dad. I hope
I'd be like, no, don't. I hope to God,
when he wasn't the father, I guess then they all came. Then the women looked pretty horrible.
Well, then you go, who is this dad? And like, I don't know. Those shows. I'm sure there's someone on TikTok, speaking of, angry people on TikTok, that's like, this was problematic. And it's like, we had the most fun watching that show.
No, totally.
How are you? What's going on with you, Jordana? How you been? How's the dog, Ronnie?
I'm good. Ron's good. He's sleeping at my feet. It's starting to be like that time of year that it's like great to be in the suburbs.
It's suburbia season a little bit, especially age-wise, I'm sure. There's like... you can go outside, feet in the grass, car, trips to go do stuff. Like,
right.
This is, we've talked about my move probably more than we should, but like, there's an element of like freedom. I told someone I didn't have a car for 18 years and they were like, what? Like they couldn't even like fathom,
you don't need one.
Live?
Yeah.
You don't, but
you're actually more free without a car in the city, I think, than you are with a car in the suburbs somehow. You are free, but you are like not also you're like and you're kind of doing this in like a perfect way where you're renting and you're not buying, but you're like, because you are free, you have like the freedom of the road, you have the freedom to like go and do things, and you have all the space, but are also kind of like a slave to your like property.
People talk about that a lot with like the American thing, like especially millennials, like it's this anchor. Like you're not going to like, your dreams are confined at this point when you have like a mortgage hanging over your head.
It's a little suffocating.
It
just
can
a little
be.
bit. Just a little bit.
I'm having a bright and shiny way to start this episode.
I'm having a great time out here. No, but I was thinking like it is a little bit like when you move out, I do think you're a little bit like, I've accepted that this is like kind of like I've reached where I've aspired to be, and it's probably not going to get much higher than this, but I need to make sure I can maintain where I'm at.
The dream
because now you have
over.
The bar. You have because you have like now I'm like at the place where I need to pay to maintain what I've gotten, but I do need to maintain a certain level in order to do that. And then there is a sense of like I've left the city where everything is happening.
Right.
And so I've sort of accepted that this is the place that I'm landing.
Well, this is the fear of moving on with life, like it's an acceptance,
Well, it's also getting married, I guess, right? It's
right. Like, getting married.
You're free, but you're tethered.
Yeah. Right. You're free, but what are we doing? And it's like, I think about this with like not to bring it to air travel, but I always think of like, when I get pushed up to first class and I see like the family of 4 head back, I'm like, that couple for their 4 seats, they spent quadruple what I spent. Like that is and that changes the whole dynamic of like table for one. Like last night I went to Via Carota, one of the greatest restaurants in the city. Like that is a 50-minute wait. It was Tuesday
you could do it,
night.
right? You got no one to work around.
I walked right up. I said, any room at the bar? There was like a line. She's telling people 2 hours, and people are going 2 hours. Like they're like, what are you talking about? Like for 2? And then I roll in. And they go, table for one. Yeah, we can put you at the bar in like 15 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I will go to the best restaurant in New York City, on a whim.
Yeah.
The pros and cons. Like it's like, yeah, I may. You're
well, you can get it all, and you don't have to share it with anyone, but then you don't get to share it with anyone. You don't have to share it with anyone, but then you don't get to when you want to. I think it's lovely. I am like enjoying it. I love my like new house that's done exactly the way I wanted it to. But I'm not the kind of person that blindly loves everything. And I think those people are annoying who are like, the suburbs are so much better than the city. It's so dirty.
I hate the comparison. I think there's no one worse than person who moves and complains about the place they moved from to let you know they made the right decision by telling you how bad the trash and crime are in the areas they never even went to in the city they lived in.
Yeah, no, I hate those people. I agree.
Like if I left New York City and started complaining about the crime when I'm like gallivanting around the West Village, deciding whether to go to Via Carota or not, I'd be a fraud. And it's like I just don't buy it from any of these people.
I agree, I agree, and that's what I'm saying. Like that's just where my brain goes. Probably as a cynical hater bitch is when I'm enjoying something. I always think of what are you giving up to get? What are you paying the sorcerer?
What is the Raven's Claw deal you made
with a
witch? Yeah, with the devil. What piece of your soul did you give up to get? Life is trade-offs.
Yes,
and also
everywhere, everything you do.
Cynical Hater Bitch is our new hat that we will be having out in 1 month. That is we're going to have a big merch drop, Cynical Hateful Bitch.
That's a great hat to travel in. You can go up to the airline desk and see.
That's right.
Cynical
Hateful Bitch. I wonder what this is about. Uh-oh.
Let everyone know exactly where your priorities at.
Cynical Hateful Bitch is actually a good hat.
That.
I think that's good.
Yes. All right. Well, tell me your story.
I went and met someone for coffee yesterday.
A date?
It was a date. It had been canceled many times. We go to this is like the plight of being on the apps is that like a lot of times it's like you got something in your hands and it just like falls through your fingers like quicksand, like that's, I think,
you don't care though, right?
I don't care, but I think that's the frustrating part about the apps. It always feels like it's within reach.
It's fragile.
Right. I matched with this girl way back when. It's no secret that I'm going on dates with multiple people because I've been posted in the Are We Dating the Same Guy Facebook group. If you haven't signed up for You Up With Benefits, you can hear my whole story about being posted in the Are We Dating the Same, which made it to Reddit, by the way.
Ooh.
So I'm all over the internet. Everyone
the press just keeps feeding into itself. That's good.
Dumois, if you're listening, you can report on this as well. So you got to sign up with You Up With Benefits to hear my whole tale about being posted on and my angst about it. So I meet this person months ago on the apps. We go to the text, nothing comes. I cancel, nothing comes of it. Then we rematch on the apps again, and they're like, "Hey, I remember you," and I'm like, "I remember you," and then I'm like, "Here's my number. Let's try and get this together." And I had forgotten we already had each other's numbers, and I canceled before. Like literally, they texted me. They're like, "Hey again," and like there's all the there's like
why
a whole
don't you
string
just
of
stop deleting the texts after a year, and then you will get into this less.
Well, no, I had the text. This was less than a year.
Okay,
we rematched on the dating app. So like, we match on the dating app. We text. We stop texting. We match on the dating app. Hey, take my number. She's like, "Hey, I've had your number."
Okay,
and I'm like, "Okay, I feel like a dick." We still don't go out. Okay. So that goes away. That's like over like the last few months. Like Australia got in the way, all these things. And we have never met. Okay.
Okay.
So then I get a message and this happens from time to time, from a woman. And can I read you the message?
Yeah. Not the coffee date woman.
No, not the dating app woman. I get a message over DM. My very funny single 33-year-old daughter lives in New York City. Beautiful, brunette, petite, 5 foot. Interested in a setup?
No pick?
No pick. Like, again, like I'm against this. They've done it wrong, but it's like a mom.
Okay.
Jewish mom, of course, like what, and then she follows up with just a nice Jewish mom trying to set up her daughter with a blushing face emoji. Okay. No hate. You did it wrong, BT dubs, but.
All right, but you're old.
Yeah, an older woman. I get it. But I go to her profile. Of course, curiosity. Here's the thing about a DM slide. Everyone's curious. Everyone wants to know. So I like zoom into her, like the mom's profile picture. And I'm like, I recognize this girl. This is the one I matched with and never went on the date with.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, because she's in her profile picture.
How embarrassing for her. I'm just kidding.
Right. Got her mom begging me.
Why didn't she go on the date if she wants to go out with you so bad she had her mom reach out to you? Did you ask her?
Well, no. I just assumed maybe she didn't know the mom reached out. Like the mom, I think, reached out. I was like, I think this feels independent. It's not like she said, you matched with my daughter. She's been waiting. She just said, I want to set you up with my daughter. So like, I don't mention it, but I go back to at this point, I go back to our
conversation.
Text, and it's us being like, we should go out, and then never going out.
Okay. So did you ask her out? So
I go, hey, back from the dead. Would you want to get coffee?
You didn't say your mom just DM'd me?
Didn't say a word.
Okay.
Because I was like, I don't want to embarrass. There's a lot to explain here. We've never met, know, and I'm like, and also like, how is this night different than any other night? I'm like, why is this different with the, people are like, well, like I get DMs like this a lot, but to me, I'm like, we've already matched. This is the nudge, like Jared. Cut the shit.
Okay.
Just meet this person.
All right. So you got coffee.
So we got coffee and literally like go through a whole date, have a nice time. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, I have an admission. And I show her the text and she is like bright red, like dying laughing. And her response was perfect. She's like, how many men is my mom DMing?
It's random. How did her mom know you?
Think, she just knew me from like, she didn't even follow me, the mom. She was just like I was like a random thing that came up on her page.
She didn't even follow you? That's so funny.
Now she does. I mean, now things have been righted. But I never thought of it that way. She's right. Her mom is not just messaging me.
Wow.
Like the mom is like out there going to work. Like probably
we all need a mom like that. Yeah.
Right. She went to work. She put her, the mom who's like, you got to find someone. She's not just doing nothing.
Right. She's not like your mom with your apartment.
Right. She doesn't sit back and do nothing and complain the whole time. She's not a backseat driver. This woman got in the front seat, turned the key, and put her foot on the fucking gas.
You better find a husband or I'll find you one.
Right. So I mean, this is to our listeners who have daughters, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well, how was the date?
Great. It was really nice to meet her. She was cool, nice. We had a nice time. And like, it was just the way she received this information. Like, it was very sweet how much she thought this was, there's like two ways to like look at this, I think. Mm-hmm. There's like my fucking mom, or it's like, this is hilarious. And she took the hilarious. Again, it's not like I was testing her. I'm just like, I walked away being like, oh, that was nice.
It's cute.
It was cute.
The great Our Story page.
We will see. Don't get ahead of ourselves.
I'm sorry. I always get ahead of
myself. Message to her mom who's absolutely listening. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this before we jump right into our emails. It is April 30th. You have been sober for 1 month.
1 month sober. Thank you. You're the worst sponsor I've ever had, but I fought through all the odds and I've made it.
You made
1 month in.
Despite me. Well, if you can make it with me as a friend.
Right.
How do you feel?
I feel great.
I'm joking, by the way. I'm proud of you.
No, I know. I feel great. It is. The hard part is like when you say like I'm stopping for a month, you have this whole like week of like nothing's wrong with me. I'm not an alcoholic. It actually makes me more confident in the way we give advice for dating here. Because when we give people advice, we don't give them advice. I don't tell people what to do. We go, you can do this and they can react this way. They can react that way. Like, and then you'll have your answer. If someone told me to stop drinking, I would be like, go fuck yourself, you piece of shit. But
it has to be your idea. Yeah.
Right. This was like your
dad's idea. Yeah.
My dad's idea kind of, but if I'd been wanting to take a month off for a while. It was the right thing to do. There's a moment of like clarity where you're like, I was probably drinking excessively in certain aspects of my life. You know, gym more steps, waking up early, like all the
So you
positives.
feel good.
There's no negatives
Yeah.
as bad as that. I don't want to sound like the douche, the not drinking douche after 1 month, but like,
Are you going to keep going?
I think I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to drink with Elmo in Times Square tonight. I'm sorry, but I listen. I put a club soda with cranberry in my hand. I fake being a drinker.
It's called a mocktail, Jared.
Yes, a mocktail. I have a 700 calorie juice. I'm opening for Jon Stewart this weekend, so like
Amazing.
That's kind of like an easy not drinking road weekend because it's like
good excuse. Yeah.
Yeah, do the show and I'll go back to my nice hotel and I'll pass out and play some golf in the morning. But I like dating more, to tell you the truth. I like a coffee date to me has been way more nice.
That's great.
Yeah. I went to Barry's this morning, another plug for Barry's.
Does it make you think you could be like, you could just be sober for the rest of?
It does. The hardest part, I will say the hardest part for me is filling time.
You're bored.
You're a little bored.
Okay.
And there's been a few beautiful days in New York City, like weekend beautiful days. I would have just posted up to a bar and just like had some drinks. But like, I kind of like thinking about that. I'm like, then I would have been inside, not even like having a good time. And also my relationship with food. Like last night I ate Via Carota. I had a huge meal. There was my food guilt gone.
That's great.
That's one thing.
Sounds like this might be solving all of your problems.
In a way it has. I just wish there was like I actually wish there was a way I could just go to a bar and give them $100 and sit and hang. Like I do like being at a bar.
You could just keep ordering non-alcoholic drinks.
I did that. I went and watched the game and I was like
sodas.
having Coca-Colas. Yeah, like right. Yeah. But I felt by the end of it, I was like, she goes like $3, please. Like,
and you feel bad, right?
Right. And I was like, so I gave a 20. I'm like, I'd rather like put it on my card and let me put 50.
Right.
Like give me that option just so I can not take up the chair. I just want I want a bartender to look at me and go, you're not in the way. Like, because I know a chair equals money.
I think it's different if it's like, is it a crowded bar where like no one can get a seat and you're sitting there ordering waters with lemon? Or is it?
Right. No,
if it's casual, it's not like you're taking up someone else that would be there anyway.
No, I'm with you. It's hard to like go back to drinking knowing how much positive has come out of this month. Like I'm better on stage. I mean, you'll see tonight. You're going to see.
Wow.
Mr. Stage. I'm
excited.
I feel quicker. Yeah. I feel funnier.
Well, let's take a moment and acknowledge like that was probably difficult, at least in the beginning. And I as much as I make fun of, you and I do say that I am, your worst supporter of this. I actually am very proud of you. I think it's kind of awesome that you've done this. And I'm sure it's inspiring to like other people listening who maybe feel like they're in like a rut of sorts and want to change something up. And sounds like you've had a really good experience with it.
Good experience. I think the big thing for people to hear is like coffee is not a downgrade of a date. I kind of have come
I feel like you used to think that.
I used to think that, or I used to like, I think I can feel that when I mention coffee. Mm-hmm. And I've had better dates via coffee. Tougher to like zhuzh out. Like
you have a sexy coffee spot.
I've got a few now.
Okay, good.
I've got a few. I can make a sexy coffee spot map if we want.
I love this for you. You're getting ready for your hot Delray summer.
My Delray.
I mean, you're not going to be wearing a lot of clothes
over here
down there.
No, so. I'm excited to sweat it out. Let's jump into the emails. What are we talking about today?
Let's do it.
Also, can I just plug for a second? I know we're jumping right in here. I am going to be on the road heavy.
Where are you going?
I am going to San Jose, California. I've never been.
I've never been either.
It is near San Francisco. I've heard of San Jose because of like the Sharks, but like I just don't have any feel for it at all. But San Jose, California. I'm going to be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be in London. I'm doing a show in London. Tickets are out for London. Huntsville, Alabama.
Ooh,
I
that sounds
mean,
familiar.
I've been there before. Manchester, Connecticut, Stamford, Connecticut, London, Bloomington, Indiana, which is where Indiana University is, Brea, California, Spokane, Washington. I've been there. Denver, Colorado, Kansas City, Mo, and Richmond, Virginia. So jaredfreed.com for tickets. So it's a whole new set. If you saw me last year or the year before, whole new set. It's about traveling alone. It's about single life a little bit. It's about my family. It's about Ozempic. It'll probably be about drinking.
Is that why you're not drinking? Are you on Ozempic?
No, I wish it's about me debating whether to take it.
Yeah, I feel like you would have told me.
I think I would have told you as I was shooting up.
Yeah. Could have talked you through it. That's fun. I'm excited for your shows. All right. Let's do it. Today's advice is brought to you by Dry Bar. When you're looking for love, you're typically looking for something that will last. Unless you're fine with that what are we sort of lifestyle. But hey, to each their own. Dry Bar is all about long-lasting looks, helping you take your blowout from home to work to that post-work dinner date and maybe to the morning after. But even if the date is a dud, at least you know your look will last. Let's read some emails.
Let's do it.
Okay. Good morning. Love your podcast. I listen to you up and J Train so much that I think my unborn baby will think your voices are his parents instead of me and my husband's. We'll take them.
I'll take it. It's our kid. You are the father.
Anyway, quick background before my question. My husband and I dated for 6 years. After the first year of knowing each other, we bought a house together. It just felt right and still does, as we got married earlier this year and are expecting a little one on the way. We normally file our taxes separately and put the house under him since he gets more money back. We then split the difference on the extra money he gets back, so it's fair that we both receive money in the end for the house contributions. Some more backstory. I invested much more into the down payment of the house than him, about $15K since he didn't have much saved yet, but he pays a little more in our monthly payments since he makes more than me. I'm good with that. The issue I'm running into this year is we got a lot more money back on our taxes than we usually do, but now he is trying to avoid splitting the difference from the house with me. He said it all goes into one place anyway, right? The house, the baby, the dog, etc. But in the end, he's going to take it and place it into his personal account instead of leaving it in our house or baby account. Yes, we have separate accounts for everything. It's just the way our savings and budgeting works for us to help organize. I think I deserve to get my share as I know he likes splurging on his big boy toys, and I'd like to put some money back into my HYSA from where I took out the down payment money on our house. Am I being too much to ask for this? I know all married couples handle their finances differently. Some join their accounts all into one. We don't do that, even though it's technically all both ours in the eyes of the law. But I'm just sitting here thinking it's odd after 5 years doing this, he wants to stop now after we get a good return back. Fishy. What do you think?
This is quite an email considering like she's in deep. I mean, husband and kid.
6 years. She's about to name her baby after us.
Right. And writing into us about like this huge thing in a fun way. She's like, I appreciate her email, but it's like, I saw this and I was like, I'm like taking out the abacus. I'm sweating. I'm like, this is like a real thing. I'm going to like pitch to you a little bit because I want to hear about, you can probably relate to this way more than I could. The idea of finances with your partner.
Right. I guess to me, I don't think there's one system that's better than another system. I think some people do all their money in one account. Some people do separate accounts. Some people do 3 accounts. That's what I do. I do 3 accounts, joint account. We each have our own separate. It's kind of like this person. I don't think there's a way to do it that's better or worse than whatever. I think whatever works for a couple, depending on their own finances and their own comfort, is fine for them. The issue here, to me, is that he's seemingly breaking like a previously agreed upon deal. Right. Like to me, that's the only issue here is not like the way that they divide everything or whatever they've come to an agreement on. It's that he is suddenly kind of like seemingly, I guess because it stands to benefit him more, suggesting they deviate from whatever was previously working for them.
Right. I agree with you. And maybe he's not seeing it that way because the rules were kind of vague. Like, it seems to me they had this like easy way of going about it, and he's using the vagaries to like get off the hook with this like extra wad of cash that came in.
Yeah.
I'm with you. It was funny to me. I feel uncomfortable answering this because I wouldn't want to be told what to do with my money.
But it's not his money.
I know. I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, if I was in a couple and some like podcast weighed in on like the big money we had come in, I would be so. And maybe I'm helping her by hearing the insecurities, like, because I do think they need a renegotiation. Like, I think they're
handling discussion,
right? They're
yeah.
handling their finances the same way they were handling it when things were different. You know what I mean? Like, things have changed. Like, they have to sit at the table and be like, because she's like, everyone does it different. We do it this way. And I think the way they're doing it isn't working anymore, because the minute he goes off, you know, like, because it's about symmetry.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the issue, is that he's digressing from the way they've discussed
right
it working. It seems like the 1 year that it's worked in his favor to take more money, he's taking more money.
Right.
And to me, this is an issue for a few reasons. It's like, one, it's a little bit character revealing of like, when times are good, are you generous? Sounds like not really.
With himself, right? He is.
Yeah. And then also, it's like, I think particularly concerning because I think she said that they're about to have a baby. I don't know if it's their first. I think it is. I'm getting the idea that it's their first baby. Yeah. And to me, it's like, that is the time that you're becoming like more of a unit.
Right.
He should be being almost like more generous than usual, not like suddenly trying to hoard all the money for himself and his own. What is she? Because she says he likes to like splurge on some random shit. And maybe that's a little bit of like a rebellion against this idea of like, now I'm having to support this family and this house and this wife. And so like, I'm going to take this to kind of maintain my independence. I don't know what it is. She should definitely discuss it with him.
Yeah, I'm with you. This isn't right. I think it's like, but I think if we're like going to like boil it down to like, you know, all relationships, like, you go, hey, just because you did it one way doesn't mean you should keep doing it that way. Like, the situation has changed. Baby, house, all this stuff is coming in. Like, and now he's doing different things. Like, he obviously isn't liking the way you guys have done it before. So like,
well, let's sucks for him because he doesn't like it because it's not working for him because he's not making as much money.
But sucks for him isn't really a way to like get this worked out. Like, right now she's saying to us like, oh, we've always done it this way, all of a sudden. And it's like, I would go to him and be like, obviously you don't like the way we've done it so far because you're going off track with how we've done it. Like, where everything went, you know, and you're saying it all goes into the same kitty, but you're keeping it in your account.
Right. If that's true, then put it in a joint account. Yeah.
Why isn't that going? And I would I think that's like the way you have to come at him. Like, I agree. There's something off, you know, and I think it's also a weirdness about money. Like, you know, money's such an emotional thing. Like, and getting a lot of it and some people just, when they get a lot of it, they just want to see it in the account and hold on to it. Like, that makes them sleep at night. Like,
well, now you got a kid.
Right. But when you get married to someone, you're dating someone, like, this whole thing of like how we handle money, like, it works in dating because it's simple. This has gotten more complicated, and they're trying to use like the simplified version to like tackle this new complicated thing.
I actually think that like it becomes less complicated the more stuff you have together.
Okay.
Personally, like from my own personal experience, I think that when the beginning of dating, there's like less of a reason to be sharing a lot. Like, we don't have a lot of joint responsibilities. Like, we have our rent. We can each pay half of that. We have maybe like our credit card bill. We pay, like, the more shit that you have together, to me, it's like the more simple, like the more it's just like, oh yeah, of course we're just going to both throw everything at like the house we're buying. Of course we're going to like both give whatever we need to give to make sure the baby expenses are paid.
And we also don't know, you know, they have this house. We don't know how much he thinks he's paid in each month.
Right.
We don't know what he thinks is equal.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, as far as money's concerned,
fair.
Like, fair is very vague.
It's never going to be equal, I think. No, unless a couple has the same exact job, it's never going to be equal.
Totally agree.
Fair is really the word, I think.
That's what makes this so complicated, because it's like, well, I've been paying an extra $2,000 a month for the last 12 months. To him, that might mean evening out on the $15K you put in.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a personal question.
Sure.
You sell Betches. That is your company. Now you come into like this wad of cash coming at you very quickly.
Yeah.
Is there a discussion with Mike about that? Like of how that goes? Right.
Course.
Like but I'm saying like for you and Mike, it might have been, of course, like what was that discussion like?
I mean, the discussion is like, I think it's an uncomfortable discussion to have. It always feels like a little bit, again, talking about money always feels like a little weird because it's very unromantic, but it's a discussion about like what you think is fair, what you're looking for, what you're looking to do together. And I think another thing with couples is like just kind of like this couple. Sometimes one person's making a lot more money, and the next time another person's making a lot more money. Like it's not always. And so you do have to think of yourselves as a team.
Right.
Like that is really important. I do think it's important to protect yourself. I have a prenup, and I think that like all people should, especially people with a company that they have going into a marriage. That was something we had before I sold the company. Especially when you're going to have a house and a kid and something like that, like you do have to think of at least some of it. Obviously, of course, keep some for yourself, protect yourself, but you also need to think of it as like we are a unit where we're on the same team.
Right. Well, he's saying that, but not
doing it,
but not doing it, and she sees that he's not doing it. He might think he's doing it, like. She's saying, well, he likes these big boy toys and he's going to keep the money. But he's literally saying like, yeah, it all goes towards the same thing anyways. It's like, I think you said something very important. Like if you haven't had an uncomfortable conversation about money, you haven't had a conversation at all.
Yeah, that's not a real relationship. And I think it's uncomfortable because again, people have their own views about money, about the way they value money. We've had Ramit on this show. He talks all about that. People have totally different relationships with how easily they want to part with money, with how much. Then part of the reasons we have 3 accounts is because of that. Is because we each have our own relationship towards money that we kind of want to keep a little bit sacred. We want to be able to spend certain amounts on certain things without having to discuss that with anyone.
Totally agree. Did you have a dating financial conversation and then a married financial conversation?
Yeah.
To me, that's the difference between you sitting somewhere going, yeah, these are things that my husband and I have figured out, and her writing in being like, we don't.
Right. Well, it seems like they do have some sort of system. Right.
From when they started dating 6 years ago.
And then when they bought this house, like they had some sort of agreement about she's going to pay the down payment and he's going to, or more towards the down payment, and he's going to pay this thing. Maybe he wants to renegotiate this contract, which is also fine, but he needs to say that instead of just being like, I think I'm just going to keep the huge tax return, even though it's not how we've done things. That's a very immature way of doing things.
Like you do have a right to like go to him and be like, we've gone this way. You're doing things this way the minute we got a chunk of dough. Don't you find that incredibly weird? Right.
And hurtful. I think it is hurtful. It's a little bit.
Sure.
And again,
you don't trust me with the chunk of cash. You don't want it to go to not fun places. Well, she doesn't really trust him either. She's like, he's going to do fun things with it. It's like, I'm going to pay back my retirement account, and he's going to go do fun things. It's like, there's a lack of trust here.
That's what I'm saying. They need like a bigger conversation about money, and also maybe like, what are his fears here? Like, why do you feel like you need, is there something are you looking to buy me a present that you don't want me to know about?
What if she wrote back in, she's like, guys, I take it all back. He was buying us a new home. You know, like, like, I like that email. I love that we're getting involved in the serious parts of people's lives.
Yes.
Listen, if you have an email, uup@betches.com, keep sending them in. Let's play an icky or picky. I actually love this one. This one really, it's a futuristic one. Oh, and if you don't know icky or picky is the game that's
taking the world by storm.
Taking the world by storm. You're dating someone, they do something. Is it an ick or are you being picky? That's really the question of the game.
Pretty simple. Yeah.
Simple yet effective. J&J, love you up. I had this weird situation yesterday with a guy I matched with on Hinge a handful of days ago. He's 31. I'm nearly 33. Such a woman way to write that. You're 32. And I'm nearly 100.
Nearly 33.
No savings. What is the meme? No, not a man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You don't know the movie? There was a movie where she's like, I don't have anything.
Pride and
Not a plot.
Prejudice. I'm 27 years old. I'm a burden to my parents. That's my favorite movie. Pride and Prejudice.
Really?
Yeah. Jared, you should watch that movie.
I'll watch it.
You would do a great live scream.
Okay, I'm in.
I'm not even going to ask that you read the book.
No, that ain't happening. So we moved off the apps to text and began to talk about a first date. I said, I'm game for whatever, and all I need to know is what to wear. He said he wants to choose my outfit. So I'm thinking to myself, that's kind of hot. And said, okay, depending on how specific you are. What do you think of that?
No.
It's a little much. I can understand.
First date?
Here's what I can understand. If you're talking sexy, this is a place it can go. Like pre-first date, if it gets a little sexual early on.
I don't think it should get sexual if you're looking for something serious before a first date.
I agree with you, but if you're enjoying the fruits of life.
If it works for you, it's fine.
This isn't unheard of, is my point. But she's writing to us, so how well could it have gone?
Okay.
I said I'm game for whatever, but all I needed is to know is what to wear. It's also a strange question to ask someone you've never met. Just need to know what to wear. Like, I understand, like, jacket or no jacket, but like, hey, what do you think I should be wearing?
I can see that. No, she's like, well, where are we going? I need to know what to wear. Like, are we going mini golfing? Are we going to a bar? Are we going?
Sure. If I'm thinking of like the PEMDAS of it, like the order of operations, like, hey, make the date and I'm in. And then they're like, how does this restaurant sound at 8? And then you go, is it an outdoor place? Should I bring a jacket? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't like, it feels like she's out of order. He then proceeds to send me an AI generated version of one of the photos in my profile. I was so weirded out by seeing a not even close version of myself, not to mention the outfit he chose was matronly and screenshots attached. What do you think of this? I'm still talking to this guy and we have plans for a date this Sunday, but extremely on the fence. I'm interested to hear what you both think. Much love. Who's that betch in the mirror?
This is so funny.
Okay, let's go to the text. I'll be him, you be her.
You seem like you're on it, so plan whatever you want. I think I trust you to make it fun.
I'll tell you what I'd like you to wear if you're cool with that.
Depends on how specific you're going to be, but let's give it a crack.
Working on it. And then he sends the picture. Something like this.
I have almost nothing similar to that, TBH. I can just do black for sure.
You have nothing lace or pantyhose like those?
Nothing lace at the moment. I do have tights, but they may have holes in them. That's more of my aesthetic.
Okay, well, if you play your cards right with me, I'll get you some lace. Tongue out emoji.
And then he sends the picture. LMAO. You did not just use AI to generate this. And then 5 crying, laughing emojis. I'm dying.
No Photoshop. Come on.
Ha 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 ha. Why would you Photoshop the whole background?
To make it original. I know you didn't like the carpet. But I left it to piss you off. Here's the thing. She sounds like she
did use AI.
He did, and it sounds as weird as this premise is. It is happening in kind. Like she's laughing along. Like she's like, I don't know what to do, but like I don't think we're getting the whole message here because I think we're missing out on like how we got here. It's strange to be like, tell me what to wear. And then you're like, how about some lace? You know, like, how about I put you in like the Handmaid's Tale
I'm sure there was
outfit?
some sexual stuff.
It feels like it's getting saucy at a minimum. And I would say like, as far as like, is it icky? He's doing this as politely as you could do a weird thing. Right. Like the idea of dressing her, but here's the thing. It seems he's attracted to you. This is a thin line. I think we're towing ick, but she's not being picky if she doesn't go out with him. But I do think she's being a little picky, considering I don't think this came out of the blue.
I find it to be a little icky, maybe just because I wouldn't want someone sending me what I should wear and also photoshopping a picture. I almost think he could have gone further if it was going to be like funny, like he could have done like her in like the solar system or something. Do you know what I mean? Like he went halfway, which is the worst way. Like he changed the carpet.
He did it too earnestly.
Yeah.
which makes it even weirder. Like,
Yeah.
you
If he
ever
did
see those
her in
things?
like the jungle with animals wearing lace, like it would be funny.
There's a thin line between being fun, sexy, and flirty, and like, hey, I need to see in some lace because that's what I get off to. You know, like
Right.
he could
Yeah.
have played this a little bit slower.
It seemed
but
like
it's
he was-
also not weird enough to like be totally icked out, in my opinion.
All right. So you think it's picky. I think it's icky.
I think going on the date with him is worth a worthwhile time.
Okay.
Let's do another email.
All right. Let's do it. I'll read it. Hey, hi, howdy, J&J. She got it all.
Hello, wee lassie. Yeah.
Longtime listener, subscriber, and fan. I've seen you up live twice too.
Thank
Feather,
you.
and all that. Thanks. I am male, mid-20s, who is just getting out there again after around 5 months post-breakup with my first real relationship. A little over a year together, I was the one who broke it off. Okay. It was you. It's your decision.
You piece of shit.
On a first date off the apps, it came up quickly that she was let go of her government job around 2 months ago. The date itself was pretty fun, and I think we have great text banter. I really felt for her, especially because during my previous relationship, I lost my job about a month after making it official. I spent around 9 months without work, but all the while, I kept dating my ex. Eventually, I found another job, and things ended largely for other reasons. I'm planning on going on a second date with her and feeling it out, but I'm still feeling a little uncertain. Her unemployment isn't a deal breaker by any means, but I kept thinking back to something Jordana has mentioned before. Women are always ready for a boyfriend. I said many women are always ready for a boyfriend. Fine.
I think I've also said that, backed you up on that too.
Yeah.
Not to leave you alone on All Women Island.
Yes. Most women. Yes. I'm on Most Women Island. Okay. I know our circumstances are different, but it still feels to me like an elephant in the room, especially as we are getting to know each other. But I also don't want to be an asshole and immediately dismiss her because of the shitty circumstance she found herself in. Is this just a way of me explaining to myself that I'm turned off by this, or should I keep an open mind as we continue to go on dates? Help. Much love, conflicted batch.
Well, how do you feel about this?
I think this is very Bale.
Yeah.
And I think because he judged himself so much for being unemployed, he's almost like putting that judgment onto her.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it sounds like she had a government job. Government jobs are like being
Going
laid
through
off.
something.
Yeah, going through something. You know, I see emails about this on every platform all over the place. And so it's interesting because he's like holding it against her, even though he doesn't want to hold it against her.
I feel this guy. I've been on dates with women with no job, and I was like, it was a turnoff to me.
No job and no plan on getting a job, or like if this would
right.
This seems specific and of the times.
And what you said before is very true and needs to be assessed. No job, no job, no drive is different than no job and trying to figure it out. And I have some thoughts and I got some irons in the fire. And I think the way I would look at it, and maybe the way he's looking at it, is like, is dating a recreational activity or is it a necessary activity? And I think a lot of women...
For her or for him?
Well, I think it's different.
Yeah.
I think a lot of men see it as recreation and a lot of women see it as like an essential thing I need to do.
Right.
To move on with my life. And that's the crux of a lot of our issues. If we really like wanted to like boil it down, where it's like the men don't care because it's fun. And the women and the women are like, I kind of have somewhere to go. I'm looking to start my life, you know? And I think for him, it's hard for him to see that, like, how are you doing this recreational activity when you don't have a job? You know what I mean? I think that's the way he's like.
And again, I think we've discussed this before. I don't think women see like the two things as linked. I think it's like, I don't think that any woman is like, I am not valuable as a person to date because I am in between jobs.
And I think a man does see himself that way. Yeah. I think if a guy, a lot of his confidence is off of like, what do you do? Do you have direction? Are you on track to like be thought of, you know, to be lovable? You know, again, like the societal thing we bring up a lot of times, like that is a society thing that is like not fair. You know, like, listen, how many times on TV? He's a doctor? Ooh, do, like
Right.
that's part of that. Like I can.
Do you judge women like for that too, though? Like, would you judge this person, do you think?
For not having a job. I've been on dates. I remember I was on a date with someone once and she's like, I'm kind of couch surfing now. And I was like,
well, that's
no.
different too.
Well,
yeah.
but again, I think his situation, he references like we made it official a month after making it official, I lost my job. I think that's different too.
Yeah.
He wasn't out on dates while looking for a job, and I think that's received by the women he went on dates with differently. Oh, you're out on dates. So what's the plan? Where are you interviewing? There would be further questions. I think
there should be further questions with this person. Yeah. And I think that like, it's okay to be turned off by the answers to those questions and to say, and I think that's true. I would date a guy who wasn't working if he had a plan.
Right. It's the same thing as like living at home. Like I've never thought of living at home as like this horrific thing for someone. I think living at home and loving it and not looking to get out of the basement is a different thing than living at home. Living at home with a plan is we've talked about that before. I think that's like, does this person like, would this turn me off enough to not go on a second date with him? No.
Right. And maybe he wants her to be a little bit more ashamed of it. That's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
like,
wouldn't you, male, female, like,
yeah, I don't know about ashamed because like if a guy lived with his parents, I would need him to be a little embarrassed. A little bit.
Little humility. I mean, humility is a better way.
A little bit like, I know. And maybe that's
maybe
that's what she's not showing. And maybe she's not being vulnerable or being honest. Like, oh, I'm a little embarrassed that I lost my job, or I'm really hustling to find something because I hate being out of work. Like maybe that's what he's looking for. And if she doesn't have that and he's not into that, that's okay too.
Also, no, it's okay. He's allowed to have his own feelings and tastes. But I think going back to what you said about like the times, like this is like a very 2025 spring, like you're hearing about government people losing their jobs. Like she might not even be sure if she might be going back to that job. Like,
right.
I could understand where she doesn't have a plan because of that. Like, hey, they're rehiring people that they let go real quick. Like her plight sucks. Like I'm not. I hope
she doesn't need your judgment. Conflicted bitch.
But it is funny that the idea that like, to me, like, I don't know, would I stop my dating life if I had this like random let go of a job thing happen to me? The scarcity mindset wouldn't be I wouldn't be like, well, I'm 29. I still got a date. That would not be a thought on my mind.
I mean, I think we're all working on things though.
Right. But I think that's what I'm like kind of empathizing with why he's like feeling this way. It's like, because he's never felt that. He's never been like, well, I still need to date. It's like, like I'm not going to go out to dinner anymore, but I still got to eat. Like that's kind of her mentality. She's like, okay, I got to like cut back.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that though. Like what, she's supposed to just stop living her life because she got laid off?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, I think he's having trouble seeing that how she's seeing it.
Well, maybe he's also saying like, he's like, and he said that thing about me saying that all women are ready for a relationship. And I think he's questioning, is she ready for a relationship? And I think there's questions you can ask to gauge that.
Right. What would you ask?
I would ask a lot more questions about it. I would say like, are you still looking to stay in government jobs? What is your like bigger plan? How do you feel about not working? Like, are you like enjoying the time off? Or are you like nervous about not being able to find something? Like I would figure out whatever his fear is about her not working or whatever he's turned off by it and just ask more questions about it. And he might come to the conclusion, if she's like, yeah, it's been great. Actually, like I realized I want something a lot lower key because I really enjoy having a lot more free time. That's okay. And that might be something he's turned off by, and that's totally fine. But I think ask more questions, find that out.
Right.
That's different than being turned off for the reason that someone is laid off.
Right. So thank you again to Dry Bar for partnering with us on this segment. If there's one thing Dry Bar knows, it's how to give a great blowout. But now you can bring the salon home to you with their all-inclusive multi-styler. It's truly a magical tool that lets you create curls, a voluminous blowout, and straighten from both wet and dry hair. Low effort, high reward. I mean, Jordana, you're a Dry Bar fan, right?
I love Dry Bar. I used to get them before all dates. And I love that now they have these tools where you can do your own amazing blowout right from the comfort of your own home. And these products really work. They extend the life of your blowout. They can go from work to your date. Love what Dry Bar is doing. And I'm so happy they're partnering with us.
I am too. And when it comes to like at-home items, Dry Bar isn't guessing. You know, they have polled hundreds of thousands of customers to know what type of product they should be sending to you. And that's why you got to go check out Dry Bar's stuff. Get a blowout that lasts and shop the all-inclusive and blowout defense products at drybar.com. All right, let's play some games. You ready?
Let's do it.
Red flag or deal breaker. You're dating someone, one thing happens. Is it a red flag? You see it, move on. Or is it a deal breaker? Do you end it right away? You ready?
I'm ready.
J&J, thank you for all the dating advice. I'm a 29-year-old female, went on a first date with a 29-year-old male last weekend. After the date, as we're saying goodbye, my date says, I know it's weird, but I made a survey. Would you mind filling it out? These surveys. I said something like, that's so funny. I've never heard of anyone doing that, but yes, I'll fill it out. We hugged goodbye. And he said, I'll send you the survey link later. Can you imagine you overhear this goodbye?
So funny.
All right, great talking to you. I'll send you the survey link later. So what do you think? We've spent less than 2 hours total together. So I don't really know him well enough to be able to tell if the survey is a joke or not. I just went with the bit and filled it out and didn't ask questions. Well, that means it wasn't a good date, in my opinion. He seemed quirky and funny, so I initially did the survey thinking it was a joke. But based on his text after I filled it out, I do worry that he may have been kind of serious about it. Text below. So red flag or deal breaker. You have a fun date and the guy sends you a survey to review it after. Excited to hear your thoughts. Sincerely, a dating data point.
He sends the survey. I think we should read the survey.
Okay. So how would you rate your overall enjoyment of the date? 1 equals brutal, 5 equals a blast.
Okay.
All right. That's fine. To me, this is like, man, COVID really messed us up because this is kind of like we have like really taken away the shame with like outsourcing our like feedback structure, like and doing it behind a computer and not really like to me, sending a survey after a date, it's like the survey is, do you get the second date? Like,
yes,
that's
how
the
you
survey.
know if you've moved on to the next round, right?
Right. That means
again,
you've done a fine job. Like, you don't need to know, well, did she like my kneecap and how it looked? You know, like to me, it's so specific that it's like you can only hurt your own feelings because the most you can get back is like, yeah, I want to go on a second date. And it's like, well, do you really want to go on a second date? It's like, yeah, we'll see. I mean, this kind of goes back to dating apps. A lot of dating apps is like people making sure someone wants to have sex with them before they even get to the date.
Right. Let's say he asked her, like, would you like to go on another date? And she said, no, I'm not feeling a romantic connection, blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, all right, totally understand. Would you mind taking the survey? It might make more just like, again, the second date is the positive survey result. If it didn't, and you're like, I'm really trying to troubleshoot. Again, I think it's kind of like a dorky, losery move, but I could more understand it if it's like, why aren't these things working out for me?
Well, then you could be more specific. When you ask after the first date without knowing whether there's a second date or not, it's like you can only do like, how would you rate it? Was it pretty good or not that great? Like if you get turned down, now all bets are off. Now you can be like, on a scale of 1 to 10, what did you think of my shirt? Here's another one. Okay. Yeah. How did you feel about the venue, activity choice for the date? Really good call. Solid choice. Decent, could have been better. Questionable at best. Like some of his options are like making me turned off to him.
Yeah. At least be funny.
Right.
If you're going to do this, right?
Right. You got to be funny.
Like totally fuckable Like,
right. You gotta, this is gonna be the cherry on top of your great date. Like, that's the only way this could be fun. Did my vibes match what you were expecting? Exactly. Mostly. A little different, very different. No, that's the part where you go totally fuckable. You wanted to like jump over the table. The last one says, thanks for your input. I promise not to sell your data. Like, that's the only time he has fun with it, but it's in the nerdiest way possible.
I'm not even sure if he's joking on that.
Right.
Right. Okay, then we can read the text.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So he sends the survey. She says, haha, perfect. I'll fill it out later. And then the next day he texts,
I'm glad the survey didn't scare you off. I also give you 5 big booms. To be honest, here we go. I wanted to make one for a few reasons. On the one hand, it's kind of fun and silly. And at the same time, it can also be a good way to combat ghosting and miscommunication. So I'm still learning, even if a date doesn't go well.
I like how he said combat. It's like makes it even more corporate feeling. Like, we're going to combat truancy in the workforce. Like, no.
This is horrific. I just, here's the thing. I don't want to sound like old man Jared, but like, this is like the eradication of charm. This is where this is all going. We are all becoming Mark Zuckerberg. Like, we're all.
You think? Or is this guy just a nerd?
I think we've made it more accessible to be a nerd. Like, it's
acceptable, you mean, yeah.
Well, and accessible.
Okay.
Because like, he basically put all his personality into this questionnaire instead of like, hey, instead of
taking like a human
chance. Yeah. Right. Well, you took away all chance of failure. Like, to me, he's just trying to like make, it's like making the algorithm better. It's like, you just went on a date with someone. How about you deal with like the person who's in front of you? And again, like, I'm guilty of a version of this because the apps do let you do that. You can be on the apps while in the bathroom on your date that you're currently with someone. So like, this is kind of a version of that. Like, get me better so that I don't, so that I can combat ghosting for the future. It's like, how about me, bitch?
Right. Yeah. Also, yeah, you should be able to opt in on like an anonymous thing or opt out. I want to be like followed up with about this fucking survey. I'm not like at work.
Right. Hey, you haven't gotten to the survey yet. Like, what's he gonna do? Like, I don't know.
I mean, here's the thing. I could understand this if she broke up with him. I'd still think it would be lame, but I think it would at least be like, all right, this guy is like kind of, a little neurodivergent and trying to get a sense in a way that it's hard to get a sense of, make some order in an orderless, chaotic medium, which is dating.
Right. I might have a lot less empathy for this guy because, like, for me, like, I'm sitting here embarrassing myself every day. Like, I put myself out there more than most. So, and just by the nature of what I do, I go on stage, pass or fail. So like, this idea of like, well, I just want to make sure I didn't get ghosted. Hey, if you got ghosted, how about a text that says, hey, it seems like I was really excited to go out again. It seems like that might not be something you want to do because I haven't heard from you. Like, that's an uncomfortable text to send, but it's an okay one to send. Deal breaker.
Deal breaker.
Survey says dumped.
Ooh, you are not the father.
That's right.
You are not the fuckboy. You are
not getting the blowjob.
Yes.
Let's do it.
All right. Hi, J&J. And may I say feather? I've got a red flag deal breaker. Jumping right in. I'm a 28-year-old female on the dating apps. I started chatting with a guy on Bumble and we had good banter. He left his number so we could schedule a date. Before even finalizing plans, he texted me his Instagram profile recommending I check it out. What is wrong with men these days?
They're just getting ahead.
For background, he works as a wildlife conservationist. And the page is mostly pictures and videos of his wildlife photography.
Okay.
I thought you might like to check this out before our date.
Would you like to see a few marsupials?
Would you like to see a marsupial penis? Nevertheless, this felt very clickbait and like I was being recruited as a follower instead of being asked on a date. I decided not to go on the date, so icky or picky, the guy sends his socials before establishing a first date. Sincerely, just another follower. I don't think he sent it to recruit followers. I think he sent it so that she would send her profile so he could see her picture before going on the date.
Again, I guess I'm like on the spectrum of what this was all about.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that would be the most diabolical. Like, I just want to see what you look like. I want more pictures of you. The The one thing I'll let him off the hook with is she knows he's a conservationist, or I don't know when she found that out. If he sent the profile and then she's like, oh, a conservationist and has all these animal pictures, that's like recruiting a follower. But if it was in the conversation, oh, I work with animals, and she was like interested and thought it was cool, we don't know. I just don't know.
Right. I would assume she wouldn't write in then. Right.
I would assume that either.
Yeah,
but I don't know, because like the idea that her brain went towards he wants another follower. Like if you did talk about his conservation work, he might be like, oh, she's interested. If you want to check out my pictures, like I could see how it's done in a not.
Okay.
There's a way where this is not as crazy as it sounds.
It's weird to say, like, I recommend you check it out. What does that even mean? Yeah. So you don't think that it could have been what my fear was that he was like, here's mine, like assuming she would show his. For tat.
No, I do think that's an option. My brain didn't go there first, but I agree with you. Like I can understand where it's like, let's get closer so I can see what I'm dealing with. But I just would need to know if they talked about like if animals was the premise of the conversation, because I know that Bumble conversations can go any which way. And that to me is a possibility. I once had a girl, she was like, any Netflix recommendations? Like she was like, she didn't ask a lot of questions, but then was like, any Netflix recommendations? And I was like, there's a great show called 37 and Single. And I gave her the special, and she was like, not having it, not about it.
Maybe she thought you were there to promote your special. Yeah.
Right. As if I'm going person to person, which would be crazy. But I can understand.
Real guerrilla marketing.
Right. Yeah. I could understand that would be a turnoff. Like I kind of took the chance.
I could see where she'd see it was like braggy or something.
Right. But it's like, why are you asking me what to watch on Netflix? Like, I don't know. I could feel there was some like distaste with like the comedy thing. Like there was no questions about it.
All right. Well, it's a good way to figure out she wasn't your match.
Right. All right. Let's do one more.
Okay.
I'm a longtime listener to You Up since 2017. Thank you. Just have to take a second to say that it feels like you guys are my childhood friends, almost like we've grown up together. Well, we feel the same way. It's been cool to see the pod and your careers grow over the years. Excited to be writing in. Frustrated about this topic. I'll dive right in. Thank you. I'm in a great relationship with someone I love. He's emotionally aware. He's done therapy. We have amazing chemistry. We're both 32 and have been together 7 months. Most weekends, he goes out with younger friends to loud, crowded bars where everyone's drinking to get drunk. I'm working full-time, back in grad school, and just not in that scene anymore. It feels more like a space for younger, single people, and it's not how I want to spend my time. I want my boyfriend to spend time with his friends. They're really awesome people, but I can't help but feeling this is immature behavior. It seems weird to me that he's still pre-gaming, going out at 10, getting drunk, coming home at 2, instead of going and to have a few beers or drinks and spending quality time with friends talking. This isn't once in a while behavior. It's every weekend. I've brought my feelings up to my boyfriend a few times now, and I think he understands where I come from, but it's almost like it's a routine that he's still going out to these very young party environments. Meanwhile, we've been talking about the future, marriage, and having kids, but I don't want to be taking care of kids and a hungover husband on my weekends. Red flag or deal breaker? You both have very different ideas of how you like to spend your weekends, party versus PJs. Thanks in advance. Am I like the party or the PJs?
I think you're the party.
Oh, okay.
I'm the PJs.
So PJs, what do you think?
I think it's a good email. I think it's a common issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think by 32, a lot of guys don't really want to do this anymore, but it seems like this guy does. So maybe he's not quite as, I don't want to say mature, because I think liking to party doesn't make you immature, but maybe he's not in like serious relationship mode, but maybe he could be while still wanting to go out. I would like to, my conversations with him would revolve around like what he gets out of these outings every weekend. Like, what is he gaining from them? What does he like about them? Does he feel like this is like the only thing he can do because all of his friends are younger and that's what they're doing and he won't have any friends if he doesn't do that? Does he just really like getting super drunk and going to bars with his single friends? Like, I would want to know more about like what he's getting out of this.
Right. There's another thing that I was thinking while reading this and like trying to think through his position. he's saying all the right things, but I don't know if he knows what that entails. Like, you can't get married, have a kid, move in, and pregame every Saturday night at 10 o'clock with your friends. It's just, you can do it
Right.
once in a while.
When's the last time you went to a
like,
pregame?
It's been a minute. I mean, I went to a birthday party last weekend and we pregame by getting dinner beforehand. But like,
Right.
but I'm also 40 and not 32. So like, I can't, my 32-year-old self, I was at a pregame every now and again. But every now and again,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't every weekend, even at 32.
Every
he was 25,
weekend,
I'd say, yeah, every weekend. That's what I was doing.
Right.
too.
And I don't think this is like malicious from him. I think a lot of people like say they want the girlfriend or boyfriend, and then they're like, they put all the baggage on them. They like put the backpack on, and then they go, oh, I guess this is how heavy it is. Like I think he's like, I don't think he's realizing like, being in a serious relationship means growing up together and spending quality time and like
right.
having an evolution of life. Some people put on the backpack, feel it's heavy, and they go, maybe I need to end this because I'm not ready for it. And that is an option here. Like I kept thinking, I'm like, I think they have two different ideas of what a relationship is. And
she could end it too.
I think he, for this to even evolve, I think she has to present to him what life with her means. And it doesn't mean you have it all the same as you did at 27. And I think he's got to think through that. Like, I don't think he's ever done that to me.
Right. And again, I feel like just because you're in a relationship, it doesn't mean you never can do any of these things. I think it's the frequency that he's doing it that I would agree with her does feel concerning, does feel like not someone who wants that kind of life.
Well, right. And I think to me, it's like the difference between hypotheticals and saying the words and actually like putting like real experiences behind it. She has like a data set like right in front of her. She can go back to the last month and point out exactly what they did each weekend. And she can say to him, you did this. Here's week 1, here's week 2, here's week 3, here's week 4. I didn't hang out with you on any of those nights. Or like point out like, here's what I did on those nights. Here's what you did on those nights. Here's how I see us, what I see our hangouts being. How do you see it going forward? Because right now it seems as though she's dating someone who is having a girlfriend the same way you would have a girlfriend at 25.
Yeah. And I think the most frustrating part of it for her, or would be for me, is not that he's doing these things, but that he's almost like that he has another option and he's still doing these things.
Right.
If I were her, I wouldn't want to be the girlfriend who's like being the nag about you not going out with the boys every Friday and Saturday. I would want to be with someone who like didn't really want to do that every single weekend.
That's the hardest part about this email, because like she writes in very nicely and it's a good email. And it's like, I'm reading this being like, you're with someone who does not want to grow up.
Want to, right. That's the thing. Or maybe he does, and he's just, this is what he's always done. And I think there's a chance when you talk to him about it, when you get it out, when you get a lot of stuff out of him, if you have a real conversation, like it could come out that he doesn't really want to do that anymore, but he kind of feels like he's like, this is just the way that he's always done things. So it's an automatic thing. And he, he values those friendships, or values that release in that way, or he values drinking.
Listen to me at the beginning of this episode talking about a month with no drinking. Like I wouldn't have like at the beginning of the month, this is 1 month. I'm just saying like, I wouldn't have an idea of how I would do the month. Like I was like, I guess maybe I'll stay in, or maybe I won't do much, or I didn't know. And now I look back on the month and I go, well, I had this experience. I had that. You know what I mean? Like I think you're setting up a very empathetic way for her to go about it, which I appreciate, because he might not even know how to do a weekend as an adult.
Right.
Like, and that's crazy to think about, but like, sometimes you go, well, like, my dad is like, my dad my dad hates coming to New York. He thinks New York City is the worst. And my mom always wants to come to New York City. She's like, let's go to New York. Let's go, we'll stay there. We'll go out with Jared. We'll
find some place with free parking.
Well, to him, he goes,
Yeah.
he goes, what would I even do? That's his question. And then it's funny because I've lived here 18 years and I'm like, I don't even know. We go to like a deli or like, I don't know. And then I'll never forget it. We were in the car with my brother's father-in-law. It's my brother's father-in-law. It was the weekend of my brother's wedding. So we're with my brother's father-in-law. My dad is in the front, both of them in the front. My brother and I are in the back. We're like going to eat while like the women are getting ready or some shit. And my brother's father-in-law, who's like the nicest guy in the world, he was like, and he's like classic girl dad. Like he's like had years of training of girl dad weekends.
Communication.
The whole deal.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, we're going to New York in a few weeks. And we're like, oh, cool. What are you going to do? And he's like, we're going to the Met. We got a Broadway show. We got a good dinner. We're going to go, we're going to go take a horse carriage ride. Like, and we're going to do a spa thing. We found this like indoor, outdoor spa. And he's like going over his weekend. And he stopped his explanation. And I said to my dad and my brother, I go, we have never had any of those things cross our mind as something we would do in New York. Like we had no answer. Every time my dad says, what would I even do there? We go, I guess nothing. We had no answer.
And you could have done all
a full fucking weekend. And we're like,
true.
Sometimes it didn't even dawn like the Met. What are we, nerds? We're not going to the Met. It was like we kind of like listened to him like he was an alien. Like we couldn't even believe it.
Yeah, but you guys are the crazy people. Like he sounds normal.
He's normal. That's what I'm. That's what I'm saying. Like, so to take to bring it back to this guy, like he's like, what would I even do on a weekend if I don't pregame and then go listen to Tiesto? Like what would I even do? And it's like
he might not have thought about it at all.
Right.
And I have a totally similar scenario. I remember being like 28 and talking to my therapist and like talking about all these like drunk fights I would get in with like Mike and being out and like drinking all. And he was like, have you thought about like how much you drink before? Like, what is your strategy when you're out and you're drinking? And I'm like, I don't have one. I just like keep drinking. When there's like people drinking, I just keep having another drink. And he's like, how long have you been doing that? I'm like, well, since like college. And he's like, well, have you thought about like rethinking the way that you drink? And I was just like, no, I'd never thought about it until that moment, which is, again, I'm like you and your dad and your brother. I'm like, that's a totally normal thing to say to someone who's like 27, 28 years old. And it had just never crossed my mind.
Right. And for this woman who says we're both 32, living together, have been together 7 months, and he's emotionally aware, he's done therapy. So he understands the idea of like reviewing oneself in a way, like, this whole like men doing therapy thing. Well, let's stop. Now it goes from words to actions. Like,
right.
So I think like that's a real fun way to kind of like go at him, where it's like, what else would you like to do? And he's going to have nothing. Yeah. And I think you're listening and watching, if you're on YouTube, two people who are going, yeah, we've been there. So he can change.
It could be him.
It could be him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's one option. The other option is he's thought about it. He really likes this. He does not want to change what he's doing.
It ain't his time. The cab light isn't on, even though he thought it was. Well, we did it again. We solved dating.
We did it. We'll be back on Friday with a very special guest.
Special guest. That's right. Lucky us.
Bye.
Boom.